Good morning. Happy New Year 2024. I hope you had a great New Year's Eve. I was in bed by 9 o'clock like every other day of the year and up at 4:30 this morning on New Year's Day like every other day of the year. I still haven't got an implant put in. I think I'm going to. People in the comment section have been very much overwhelmingly in favor of repairing my beautiful smile. So I think I'm going to do my fans a favor and on Tuesday, tomorrow morning, go to Kokloi and start my new year investigating dentists, periodontists, orthodontists, whoever fixes holes in Steve's face. Listen, I got a good response from my Christmas story. You know, I had been illustrating my old stories from Phuket on the little sets, the Boontongs videos, and that's a lot of work, so I've stopped doing that because I'm retired and not interested in working anymore. But I think some of those old stories are still worth telling. I'm going to try and read another one. This is a New Year's story from New Year's 1994. So 29 years ago. It was written on New Year's Day, and it appeared in the Nation on the 4th of January, 1994. I was going to wait until Friday and read it, but what the heck? I'm up. I've had breakfast, and you're up too. So let's read a story. This is called My Favorite Year. It's collected in Expat Days. I'm going to take off my glasses to read it. Man, the glasses hide the bags under my eyes. I won't ever go back to contacts. Normally, I don't make New Year's resolutions. I don't keep promises made under the influence of lust or champagne, so I don't make them. But other columnists seem to love the new year, so that for the past week, the lifestyle sections have been full of worst movies of the past year and new trends of the year to come. Since I make my living by the word, but haven't seen a movie since Do the Right Thing and haven't called a trend correctly since Pet Rocks, I'll go out on a limb here and publish a New Year's resolution. At 3 a.m. on January 1st, my first action of the new year was carrying a bag of wet sand up and down the 5 steps that lead from our living room to the bedrooms. In about 45 minutes, I made approximately 50 trips up and down, up and down, up and down. Up 5 and turn, down 5 and turn. And the whole time I was whistling a theme to a TV show that I haven't seen in 30 years. I thought having a kid would be a good idea. What better way to get to know the Thai people, I thought. Invite one of them into your home the day he's born. Observe him in his native environment through the entire growth and learning process. And then, when he's about 18 and thoroughly Thai, ask him all those nagging questions about life here that observation alone can never answer, like, say, Andy, how come there's 50 sales girls lounging around the stacks at Ocean Supermarket, picking their noses and combing their hair, but not one of them knows what aisle the kitty litter is in? But at the moment, my Luke Krung's knowledge of the world is limited to the mama and not the mama. The mama is my wife, Mem, and not the mama is everything else in the universe, including me, you, George Bush, and the Crab Nebula. So what I've learned about Thai people in the 6 weeks since Andy appropriated my home and the affections of my wife is this: when they're not eating, they're sleeping. I've heard this bit of insight from people who've only been in the kingdom for a few days. It hardly seems worth the investment I've made in acquiring it. But as limited as Andy's interests and ambitions are at the moment, his decision-making abilities seem fairly well developed. For instance, almost as soon as our guest bedroom filled up with soiled linen and music boxes that play Brahms' Lullaby in double 4 time, he decided that he would wake up and demand to be fed at 2:30 every morning. Then he would start screaming loud enough to peel the paint off the walls. The first night that Andy asserted himself, I picked him up and fed him a few drops of Woodward's grape water, a product with an apt name and an Art Deco label that everybody from Dr. Spock to my gardener recommends as just the thing for a colicky baby. Andy reacted as if I'd fed him an infusion of methamphetamine in espresso. He threw back his head and let out a scream that disturbed the patrons of 3 go-go bars over the mountain in Patong. I paced the bedroom and then took him outside to let Mem get some sleep. I paced the living room, I paced the dining room, I paced the kitchen with an air raid siren clutched to my chest. All the time I was whispering, there, there, and shush, shush, and so burp, damn it. I hummed, I begged, I cried myself, I offered to buy him a car. I crooned, I wheedled, I cajoled. Finally, I gave up. And ascending the stairs to wake Mem and hoping to trade my son for a cigarette, my tired brain made a bizarre association, and I started whistling the theme song to Andy of Mayberry. And the kid stopped crying. In 5 steps, he went from howling that would annoy Helen Keller to total silence. I was stunned. I stopped at the landing and I stared at him. He stared back for a second. Then he opened up and let loose a lungful of stale milk odor and 8 decibels of shriek. I spun on my heel and descended the steps, shush-shushing and doing this bo-bay thing that Mem does, and still he howled. I spun again and I climbed the stairs, humming Brahms's Mediocrity, and still I held 3.5 kilos of white noise. Then I came down, slowly, and I tried the Mayberry theme again. I whistled the notes that I used to hear on the TV after dinner on Wednesday nights. When I was 8 years old and I had a secret fantasy that I lived in Mayberry too, and Opie and I were brothers, and we shared the warm Toll House cookies that Aunt Bee made for us after school. 7 bars of melody and 5 steps, and my kid was quiet again. As long as I kept going up or down, as long as I whistled and whistled only that tune, my Andy was quiet. And I haven't been able to alter this routine in 5 weeks. He stays quiet, but he doesn't sleep, not till about 3:45. My arms and my back have stopped aching. My calves are not as skinny as they used to be. And I'm learning a lot about breath control. I'm doing a lot of thinking, whistling my mantra in the quiet house with the cat and my son staring at me. And in the darkened hallway with the rest of Phuket was drinking cheap champagne and ringing in the new year in front of traditional Thai dance shows and the second string players from Simon Cabaret, I made a New Year resolution. I'm going to stop thinking so much about us and them. it's not so important that I learn anything about Thai people from Andy. At 4:30 in the morning on New Year's Day, I bathe my sweaty, exhausted son. When my wife takes him from me, quiet at last, under the cheap fluorescent bulb in the bathroom, the skin of his fat little thigh is exactly the color of the back of my hand and exactly the color of my wife's palm. The end, yeah. Happy New Year. So Andy's what? 29 now? That was 1994. This is 2024. He will turn 30 this year. Am I right? I don't know. Anyway, that was my New Year 30 years ago. Thanks for listening. And again, a very sincere Happy New Year to you and yours. And I'll see you Friday with another postcard from Turtle Beach. Like, subscribe, share, yada, yada, yada. Thanks very much. Bye. And of course, I forgot to add the tune. If you're wondering, it goes like this. Ba-doom, doom, doom, doom. Thanks for your patience. Happy New Year. See you Friday.